And I'm Dan. Welcome to Wine is Serious Business. We're on location in Germany for this episode. Couldn't be more excited. We're here today with Florian Lauer of Weingut Peter Lauer. Thanks so much for taking some time to join us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what's important to you with your winery and the vineyards you work with.
Thank you for your visit. Welcome here in Germany, welcome in the Saar Valley, and welcome in Ayler. Ayler is a wine growing village since the Middle Age, and my family is doing wine business here since 1830 approximately. Everything started with my great-great-grandfather, was called Matthias Kern, and he started with a wine pub or a wine bar exactly in this room, and was producing his own wine outside in the steep slopes around the village.
Nice. Very cool.
What is important concerning the history are always let's say our ancestor, my grandfather, for example, who was really a fantastic winemaker. He was the first one here in the Saar Valley producing dry wine in a time when everything was sweet, and he liked to drink one specific wine out of one specific vineyard every day. And this is the southwest exposed part of our main site, Ayler Kupp. This is a vineyard. It's not an entire vineyard. It consists of 17, 18 different parcels, and out of these 18 parcels, very small, really tiny parcels of only some square meter. We harvest a wine which is called cider. This is our cider wine because it was the most loved wine of my grandfather.
Oh, cool.
Fantastic. Like to taste it?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this does come into Portland with Van Bodem importing. And,
exactly.
I've seen this around shops in Portland.
So what is special about our wine business? Perhaps first is we are only growing Riesling, so we are focused and specialized on this one single grape. It's the grape which is the most and the best way adapted to our climate, to our soil, and to the wine style we like to acquire to get for sure a white wine, but to get a white wine which has a special tension in it, and this tension is really something dominated and characterized by the soil and by this blue-gray slate soil. Unfortunately, the slate is there.
I've taken photographs.
Yeah, I think most of our viewers have seen some slates. So, yeah.
Okay. It's the blue-gray slate soil. It's the Saar Valley where we stay here. The Saar Valley is 98% slate soil.
Yeah.
But we have a different, let's say, different types of slate soil. We have here in Ayler, we are with our blue-gray slate, which is bringing out a nice mixture of minerality and fruit. For example, in Wiltingen, which is also a very famous wine village, with the Schieferfels and Gottesfuß, whatever, we have a little bit more red slate soil. And in Saarburg, for example, Saarburger Rausch or Opfener Bockstein, we have something like gray slate mixed with the diabas. It's volcanic eruption stone, and so for that reason it makes sense to regroup villages within the Saar Valley, and we do that by this wine here. It's called I don't know if you can see it.
No, we show a close up.
Okay, show a close up.
Yeah, so they can see.
It's only it's the Ayler Riesling. So it's we say, okay, this is a a village class Riesling, which representing the village typicity, and yeah, this is the in Ayler the blue gray slate that makes fruit and minerality and wine.
I feel that comes through. I get a lot of like lime like citrus, I think.
Exactly.
When I smell it. And maybe like young peaches too, not like these super fat, ripe, that fall apart in your hand peaches, but like the younger,
it's still very
first
firm.
of the season. Yeah.
The peachiness is what sticks out to me initially, with a bit, some acidity behind it.
It's a little bit grapefruit, also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good citrus, I think.
Wow, that is delicious. Texturally wonderful for a dry wine. Sometimes the drier wines from this area can have small gaps in them or close off very quickly. This does not.
So this is, in fact, it's a dry tasting wine, but according to the German wine law, it's forbidden to call this wine dry anymore because it's 1 or 2 grams over the limit of 10. 10 grams is the maximum to call it dry. This has 11 or 12. It's not really tasteable, but it's forbidden to write on the label dry.
Sure.
So for that reason, we help ourselves and write on the label TF, like T for trocken and F for fruity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. One thing that I noticed on the palate is that it kind of tastes a little dry to me because the acidity is definitely firm in the center.
Exactly.
And the fruit flavors are very, very delicate and kind of subtle underneath the palate, and it stays very clean all the way across. Yeah.
And this is what I mean by a mixture of fruitiness and at the same time a certain salty minerality, salty aspect. And this brings really the attention to those wines. They're not rich on alcohol. This has perhaps 11 or 11.5 alcohol, but that's not our focus. We're not looking for high alcohol level. Because it's also it's a great drinking pleasure if you have a bottle and no headache.
I agree.
Wine, and for that reason we decided some years ago to only to focus on the spontaneous fermentation with indigenous yeasts, because they're able to produce alcohol, let's say a lower amount of alcohol out of the same initial sugar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you're using let's say these dried laboratory yeast, which is purified, then they are normally selected according to certain parameters, and one of those parameters is the alcohol efficiency. So how much alcohol you are able to produce out of 1 gram of sugar.
And more is considered better.
Yes,
than the
sure.
Okay.
The more, the better the yeast is or had been considered in the past. When, let's say the climate here in middle Europe wasn't that warm than it is today. So during the 60s, 70s, 80s, everybody had been happy about a little bit more alcohol out of this relatively low sugar levels, which have been found here in the Saarland. And so today everything changed due to 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature inclination, and this is something which changed our way of vinification fundamentally. So we only bring our must into the cellar. Our fresh pressed grape juice comes into these 1,000-liter oak barrels and a wooden prop on the top and finished. And then we wait for we are waiting what happens. 1 week, nothing happens. Sometimes 2 weeks, nothing happens.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually after 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, you listen to the bird and it says something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the natural yeast which is developing, and which is producing wines or fermenting wines with lower alcohol but with a ripe initial grape juice.
Excellent. Well, let's move on to wine number 2 then. He selected a Grosses Gewachs. Did I say that right?
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
Could you tell us a little more about this specific wine?
Yeah, it's our oldest vineyard we cultivate. It's the Schonfels. Schonfels is a very steep cliff directly on the border of the river, and you can imagine you have something like 50-60 meters vertical slate wall rock, and then the last 30-40 meters of altitude are planted with Riesling wine. This is so. This is really a cliff. Like on the end of the vineyard, there are fences to
keep it from
to fall down in the river or on the street, and this is let's say the secret of this vineyard is its topography. The topography of the Schonfels is relatively south exposed, southeast. So it's very warm, but the top is not grown with forest or not.
Oh, really?
There's no forest on the top.
Sure.
Normally you got in all these vineyards, you got forest line, like in the Kupp, for example, you got a forest line which is protecting the vineyard from cold winds. Which are blowing from the backside and falling down into the grapes or into the wines. And this is completely flat in the case of Schonfels. For that reason, you have a very, very cool breeze which is intensively blowing on the top of this rock, of this cliff, and so you have two parts of the vineyard which are on the top, a part with a lot of wind, cool growing conditions. The grapes are developing a little bit slower. The aromaticity is a little bit more in direction herbs, green notes. Then you have the lower part, which is really very steep, falling down in direction of the water, and you have the great rock wall underneath, which is heating up over the day and bringing always warm air up into this lower part of the vineyard. Then you have the reflection of the water, which is the sunlight is reflected and put back into the vineyard. And so you have two parts. The one with the upper part with its herbal character and herbal mineral, and the lower part with its overripeness, very fruit, very developed, and the marriage of those two parts. This is the secret of the Schonfels.
Very cool.
Enjoy it. It's really rich on something like, I don't know, peppery notes, pepper, curry, impression.
What is the age of the wines?
The wines are planted in 1912. So
that's incredible.
So jump out of the camera. This is the cellar book of my great grandfather, 1910. He had already a part of the Schonfels. This is so he replanted in 1912.
Wow.
So already before 1912 he had this vineyard Schonfels and he replanted in 1912, and so it's really a very, very old genetic, which is sometimes it's sometimes not even 100% clear if it's Riesling, or if you can call that Riesling, because it's a form of the leaves. The wines have a habitus. You say this? A habitus, like, or an impression. You have the impression that the leaves doesn't belong to Riesling. Yeah.
Fascinating.
So it's in the books. So the documents all say it's planted with Riesling, 1912, whatever. But also ungrafted with a own root. But when I go there in the vineyard and counting the wines which look a little bit strange, it's at least 20%. So 20% seems to be something like Kleinberger, which is a very old variety, it's a local variety which has been planted in the 17th century here in the Mosel Valley.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Very cool.
It's interesting that you said the pepper notes too, because I see that more. I was looking for more like green herbal character, and I don't see as much of that.
No.
And I still see a lot of good citrus notes similar to the senior too. I think limes
So
and
grapefruit as well. Yeah, you're saying. Again with the peachiness, a little bit of peach, young peach.
A little sense of stones or kind of a minerality on the nose too.
Yeah, this is one that the minerality sort of sticks out on the nose a little bit for sure. Oh, it smells wonderful. So almost a little hint of saltiness too to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, so.
this is like sea salt, like this fleur de sel.
And we were talking about this before the camera started, but this being the 213, said this probably won't be in the States until 2012.
Yeah.
And this is a wine intended for aging, so
Exactly.
this is very much a preview, a young wine.
We're tasting a baby.
Yeah.
We'll look to his nice face, but
Yeah.
More to say later.
Mhm.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The 2013 are very complex wines. So also this one is not dominated by alcohol. Even if that is the ripest or one of the ripest vineyards we harvested, this is only 12.3 alcohol. And this is fantastic for a großes Gewachs. And I like the the density of that wine. It's not that this is these 2013 are not huge monster wines like having a body like Mike Tyson, but this is more or less a very dense core which likes to develop. And this is something I really like, because it will develop a little bit like 2004, 2008. Those vintages which really today are for me one of the greatest ripened Rieslings I tasted in the last years. So it's always a little bit the problem. If you have a very overripe vintage, which is very easy to drink young, like let's say 2011 is a perfect example. It's a vintage that is directly present. You enjoy the wine with 1 or 2 years aging, perfect. Then you don't think about putting that away. So we're going on with a fruity styled wine. This is not really sweet. We call it in German. We call that off-dry or Feinherb. And this is a wine out of the traditional slope Ayler Kupp from the parcel which is called Kern. Kern is a family name from the old owner. He owned that parcel during from 1880 to 1910.
Okay. Wow.
And his family was in the tobacco business here in the near Saarland. It's close to France. And he was a wine lover. He was not a producer himself. He was a wine lover. He bought a vineyard and he engaged he had somebody who produced the wines for him, but that made absolutely sense in a time when Mosel and Saar wines were unpayable. They around 1900 we had prices here higher than the most expensive Bordeaux or Burgundy wines.
Right.
So perhaps somebody knows Chateau Yquem, which is a Sauternes, and the most expensive Chateau Yquem Grand Cru was cheaper than one bottle of Ayler Kupp Riesling Auslese.
Wow.
So then you can imagine the relation. Those days, wine was something for only the 10,000 richest people in Europe.
Sure, and the people that make it, right? But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
but in fact, it was an absolutely a glory time for this small landscape here, Mosel, Saar, and Ruhr, and now we're tasting a wine out of Winner, which is not that old. It's only 70 years old wines here, but which is in the same position as Southwest exposed. Then exactly comparable to what our Mr. Kern 100 years ago liked to drink.
You can smell the riper fruit.
This is exotic. Yeah, this is like mango,
like the sweeter pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Like honeyed ripe apple.
Yes, exactly. A little bit like this passion fruit.
Yeah, sweeter and a little on the nose, and very aromatic. Like a lot of good aromas.
And I get the salient edge on this a little more on the nose than the other two, or the mineral component.
Yeah, so it's a wine which is I like to serve in smaller glasses because this is living of a very intense aromaticity, and you concentrate like this. Really, you focus to bring the aromas focused on the nose,
right?
And
Boy, that's friendly. Yeah.
That really is friendly. Wow. Again, texturally, this wine is fantastic. Yeah.
We have a very cool wine lined up for wine number 4 right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
And this is a wine which has no price. At the moment, you cannot buy it because I don't know how much you have to pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is an auction wine. So we have a cabinet, and this is our first auction cabinet we ever had, because 2013 is a perfect cabinet vintage, and for that reason we said ourselves, let's try to make the best cabinet which you can imagine in the world. This is the auction cabinet 2013. What is the special thing about the cabinet? So we have in our German wine law, we have those predicate levels like Kabinett, Spätlese, Auslese, Beerenauslese, etc. I will show you the difference, or explain you the difference, what at least we in our estate we think about these predicates. So these are ripe grapes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not overripe, nice, ripe, same.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cabinet.
Okay.
This picture I show my pickers now in October. I say go to this and that parcel and pick cabinet grapes. This is cabinet. This is same. This is straight. This is fresh. This is absolutely ripe. Has everything that Riesling needs to have, but is not overripe. Overripe is the Spätlese. So this is overripe golden berries, a little bit more into the exotic flavor note into the exotic side. Then we pick the Auslese. That is with the brightest berries within the cluster. Has some dried berries already. This is already with concentration. You have a natural concentration process in the berry and in the cluster, and this leads to those classical Auslese style with a lot of botrytis spice, a lot of dried fruit element, and yeah, for sure this is BA Beeren Auslese. And if you go and pick for sure by hand only the driest dried berries, you have the TBA, the Trockenbeeren Auslese. So according to this, we classify our wines, and for my opinion, I like that very much, because you always know what wine style you have in your glass if you buy, for example, a Kabinett or a Schieferfels.
Right.
So this is the Kabinett. So how is the auction Kabinett made? So it's made like all the other Kabinetts we select. This is one of our best parcels within the Ayler Kupp, and that's the first decision. You say, okay, I try to make a really special Kabinett wine by selecting a very good parcel, but then I put that wine into 3 oak barrels, and only the best of these 3 oak barrels is barrel number 5.
Cool.
And this is now the auction. So it's a 2-step selection, and then I say, okay, this is really the best of the best. And this comes to the auction.
Exciting. Well, thank you for the preview.
So this has some of that salty characteristic.
Absolutely,
More forceful than the last one. I think it's there's a lot more of it there.
I heard you have really a spicy flavor, a salty, spicy, herby.
Yes.
Like kitchen herbs, for example.
Yeah. A little bit spice rack, but not like the cooking spice. Like this is definitely more like a rosemary, mint. Like that dry, but all dried, like not fresh.
And I get like just faint hints of some of those exotic fruits, like they're on the other side of the room or something like that. They're just barely in there. Yeah. Great mouthfeel. Again, I think the sweetness has a little richness, but the acidity, as we've been talking about all the way through, is definitely kind of full here and has plenty of body to it. It works very well as a skeleton, I guess, for the sweetness to sit on.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case that the acidity is clinging in your mouth after. It's over 50 grams of residual sugar, but you don't taste half of it.
Right.
Perhaps not even a third. You have the impression having drunken a dry wine after you swallowed, and this is something special on those Kabinett. By the way, it's only 7% alcohol. So
Excellent.
This is one of let's say of the I would say one of the most typical wines of this area, because it's very very rare in the world to find wines like this.
It's a total
And I love that like the acidity dries really fully on the palate, but the depth of fruit in the middle is really impressive. There's really just a lot of complexity and full character.
And like we talked about the flavors on the nose, like there's a lot of freshness to the fruit flavors, and the fruit flavors are more forward on the palate, with the acidity really taking over in the finish. But like the nose was all like salty and like herbs and stuff, and like this is very fruity and delicious on the palate.
Yeah.
So it's a really great contrast. So it's pretty rad.
This is let's say it's an auction Kabinett, but in general the Kabinett is an absolutely perfect aperitif. Instead of taking a sparkling, a champagne or cremant or whatever,
Sure.
or a German Sekt, you can take easily take a cabinet, and everybody of your guests will be happy, because after that aperitif he's able to drink the whole evening.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
It's true.
It doesn't kick you out of your shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas some champagne is quite strong, right?
If you have 2-3 glasses of champagne, it's something different than 3 glasses of the cabinet. After 3 glasses of the cabinet, you drink again 3 glasses of the cabinet.
For sure.
Yeah.
It lines up.
Before we ended, I wanted to ask just if you could describe the 2013 vintage for you guys quickly, briefly.
Yeah. So let's describe 2013 as a vintage with absolutely low, very low yield. So it's from an economic aspect, it's it's a very bad vintage for us as a winemaker. For me as wine drinker and wine lover, it's a perfect vintage. I like it. I'm an absolutely fan of 2013 because it's a wine. It's a vintage with very long vegetation period, and over 130 days of vegetation. This is very long.
Okay.
From bloom to harvest.
Right.
Vegetation, bloom to harvest.
Yeah.
Or flowering to harvest. And the special thing is, in 2012, to compare a vintage, we had higher ripening. That means a higher percentage of overripe grapes, a higher percentage of higher sugar in the grape juice.
Right.
But we had lower extract, dry extract.
Okay.
That means they actually really the minerals and everything.
Yeah. It's more of a fruity vintage and less of.
Let's say this is normally it's a value, the dry extract in the wines. It's a value to describe how dense the wine is.
Okay.
How much dry material is in the liquid.
Yeah.
And the higher the yield, normally the lower your dry extract is.
Okay.
The dry extract something, so the minerals and the acidity and the aromas, everything what is not going out when you cook the wine is. Please don't cook it, but in the laboratory you do like this. You have it's a measurement for the duration, the ability to ripe, the ability to mature, to get ready to age positively. Yeah.
Right.
And a high extract means you have a very high potential, very high aging potential in this one.
Okay.
And so 2013 is, compared to 12, is a lower initial sugar in the grape juice, but has a higher extract. So it's
Interesting.
there are 2 vintages which are very good. I like the 2012s.
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
right.
They're absolutely great wines, but I also like the 13 due to that fact.
Right.
Because there are 2 wines with 2 different, or 2 vintages with 2 different,
Yeah, I've been tasting those side by side a couple times. Like I've noticed, like obviously there's a good ripeness, a lot of fruit in the 12s, but there's a leanness and more of a sense of minerality and
Exactly.
like a sense of like leaner, racier acidity in the 13s that I'm really liking. And in the case of like your wines, there's really good fruit intensity still to back up all of that mineral and acid, which is just awesome. So yeah, it's
exactly.
yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of the show. To wrap things up, as always, we have our guest ask a question to the viewers. Please comment. Let them know your thoughts. What would you like to ask anybody watching the show?
Anyone on the internet.
You can ask them about
I can ask everything I want to ask.
anything you want to ask.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is something to do with wine, or
No, you ask them about football. You can ask them about.
We have a lot of wine people watch the show, but they also have a lot of great interests. So.
Motorbikes or.
Okay. I will ask a question not about wine, but about another drink. That's cider. What is there cider grown in the US?
Yes.
Is it produced there?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know, when you drink cider, is it instead of wine or instead of beer?